Hello friends, welcome to the channel. I hope all of you are fine. Today we will do Postmodern Condition written by the French writer Jean-François Lyotard. This is part of MEG 05, that is literary theory and criticism, and very important for any of the literary competitive exam aspirant. The Postmodern Condition by Jean-François Lyotard. Let us know something about Lyotard first. Lifespan 1924 to 1998. As I told you, he was French literary theorist, writer, and philosopher. Spent his career considering how postmodernity affects the human condition. That is why the title is Postmodern Condition. He once served as a director of International College of Philosophy in Paris. In this book, he tries to make us understand what is this term, the postmodern condition, published in 1979 and titled The Postmodern Condition, a Report on Knowledge. This is the subtitle, in which he realizes the concept of knowledge in postmodern culture as the demise of grand narratives or meta-narratives, which he views as fundamental aspect of modernity. He says कि in postmodern literatures, grand narratives and meta-narratives are actually dying. How? Let us see. There is no point moving further without knowing the term meta-narrative. Am I right? Meta-narrative. And if you do not know the term, it is not a crime, quite a natural thing. Meta-narrative, as the name says, is a postmodern theory which refers to the big stories, the grand stories, in which religion and history is offered to readers. Meta-narratives explain the importance of religion and explain modern phenomenon. बहुत ही ग्रैंड लेवल की स्टोरीज बताई जाती हैं जिसमें हिस्ट्री और कल्चर ऑफर किया जाता है रीडर्स को. दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल टू बी मेटा नैरेटिव. The French philosopher Jean-François Lyotard wrote widely about postmodernism. And in this book, Postmodern Condition, a Report on Knowledge, he postulated that postmodern era was characterized by an incredulity, that is skepticism, toward meta-narratives. He coined the term meta-narrative to help describe the postmodern era. So anyone who is preparing for competitive exam, from this paragraph 2-3 MCQs can be made. The first is of course who wrote this book, Postmodern Condition. Second is who said this statement, postmodern condition is an incredulity towards meta-narratives, who coined the term meta-narratives. So please look deeper, look between the lines, and you will be able to know what kind of questions can be there in examinations. Let us summarize the book in our words. The major arguments put forth by Lyotard is that prior to postmodernism, knowledge was the result of extensive conversation. People used to talk to each other in a grand manner. There used to be discussions. Scientific discussions were philosophical in nature because researchers carefully analyzed the evidence at hand and contributed to the conversation. There used to be many discussions, specifically philosophical and scientific. A meta-narrative is a discussion that never ends and enables knowledge to develop over time because they all operated under the same meta-narrative. Scientists gave each other legitimacy. Now, knowledge is commercialized and there is no such things as meta-narrative. So he was not at all happy with the commercialization of knowledge. Now, अगर हम आजकल की भी बात करें तो nowadays knowledge is being sold. He used to say कि knowledge should be something which should be discussed but not sold at a commercial level. The first thing that we need to know is the postmodern condition is divided into 14 chapters. This can also be a question. First chapter's name is the field knowledge in computerized societies. The definition of knowledge commodification is discussed in the first chapter, how knowledge is commercialized. He says in postmodern world condensed information is used, very summarized information is used. Something which we are doing at present. We are trying to understand the summary of this whole theory. Isn't that so? The knowledge economy is there, which means companies gain by sharing knowledge that has been repackaged, which lowers the value of initial data. Initially, there was something else, then it moves from first person to second person to third person, and it is commercialized and always repackaged. So the original grand knowledge does not reach to the ultimate consumer. Next chapter's name is Legitimation. Who legitimates? Who has got the rights for a legitimation of this information? Who legitimates this new transmission of knowledge is a question addressed in chapter 2, Legitimation. Lyotard is concerned that the government is restricting access to information for the general population. There are so many informations that are with the government, and government is either commercializing the information to reach to the customers or is not providing them with all the informations. The third chapter's name is Language Games. It examines how language and communication are evolving depending on the method of transmission. Our social connections and the amount of knowledge we consume fluctuate. When reading, for instance, we act differently than when talking on the phone. When we talk to each other, when we have a great grand discussions with the whole family, with many intellectuals, then the knowledge level is different. But when reading, we do not know if we are provided with the full knowledge or not. The knowledge that we take from the readings, from the commercialized readings, that is the limited one. This is what he is trying to say. Chapter 4 and 5. The nature of social bond, the modern alternative, the nature of social bond, the postmodern perspective. In chapter 4, he suggests that knowledge and society are part of large modern social machine. Society and knowledge work together to facilitate progress, but this isn't an ideal model for real change because it is elitist. All the knowledge in the society is being spread from the point of view of the elites of the society, the VIPs, the very supreme people of the society. You can say the big business people or the big politicians. They are trying to spread that knowledge which is beneficial for their commercial usage. So that kind of knowledge is being spread in the society, and he continues the same idea in the fifth book as well. Chapter 6, The Pragmatics of Narrative Knowledge. He draws a distinction between science and knowledge. He says science is verifiable. You can do the same experiment over and again, and if you are not getting the same result, that means it is not verified. Science is verifiable always. When we conduct an experiment, we can replicate the same result numerous times. Knowledge is different. Knowledge is fluid, flexible, and efficient. Once maybe you can have different viewpoints about the same topic, and second time you can have different viewpoints about the very same topic. Chapter 7, The Pragmatics of Scientific Knowledge. Pragmatics or practicality, you can say. Chapter 7 considers scientific knowledge in more depth. Science isn't necessarily true, but it is true based on our understanding of natural laws. He says that science may be something maybe which is not required by the society. Some concepts are not at all useful for the society. But it is true based upon the fact that we have got all the facts based upon some laws, some experiments. Chapter 8, The Narrative Function and the Legitimation of Knowledge looks for any similarities between scientific knowledge and modern knowledge transmission. He finds that they both rely on a narrative to greater and lesser extent. He says the narrative function and the legitimation of knowledge. नरेशन एक नरेशन के जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होते हैं, जो भी फंक्शन होते हैं, उस नरेशन को, उस नॉलेज को किस तरीके से लेजिटिमेट किया जाता है. लेजिटिमेशन का मतलब है कि एक अथॉरिटी एक प्रूफ प्रोवाइड करती है या फिर उसको पब्लिश करती है. व्हेनेवर समथिंग इज पब्लिश्ड with the permission of government, that becomes legitimated. So he says कि narrative function and legitimation of that knowledge looks for any similarities between scientific knowledge and modern knowledge transmission, and he finds that they both rely on a narrative to greater and lesser extent. Any kind of knowledge that is being spread, be it scientific knowledge, be it modern knowledge, be it even any historical knowledge, that depends upon the legitimation of knowledge. Chapter 9 deals with narratives of the legitimation of knowledge, suggests that in postmodernist society, the people play a large role in legitimizing knowledge going forward because they can reject packaged information if they wish. Maybe, let us take a political example. There is, for example, one very famous politician, Mr. A. And Mr. A tries to give everyone such a knowledge which only praises all the qualities, all the works done by Mr. A in the society. And he says that it depends upon the people. When a knowledge reaches to someone, it is a legitimated knowledge, but it will have relevance only when it is accepted by the people. So, going forward, people can reject packaged information if they wish, but there should be unity in that case. Next chapter, he talks about delegitimation. Chapter 10 continues Lyotard's main thesis that the meta-narrative is obsolete. Obsolete means out of trend now. Since this is a globalized world and since no one person can master every language, can we? There is no choice but to pass knowledge. For example, there is one Chinese folk story, right? So, if any Chinese person translates, who knows English, translates it to English or Hindi language, we will get to read only what we have got. We do not have any, any measure, any source to verify कि whatever was written in Chinese language is the same translated to English or is the same translated to Hindi. So there is no choice but to pass knowledge. Knowledge can be passed, it cannot be discussed. Chapter 11. Chapter 11 Research and its Legitimation through Performativity. This chapter argues that there is no longer one scientific standard for proving knowledge. The problem is that since we have commercialized or industrialized knowledge, only wealthy know the real answer to everything and they selectively transmit this information to shape society. Let us take one example. There was discovery of vast lithium deposits in Indian territory of Jammu and Kashmir recently. I hope many of you know about it. But how much lithium was found and what is the usage of lithium for the country and how we will be benefited? That is not at all clear to the normal people. The knowledge remains only to the wealthy. The Geological Survey of India estimates it has discovered 5.9 million tons of lithium resources. But can we verify it? Do we, the normal people, have gotten access to verify it scientifically? We are getting only that information which the wealthy know. Chapter 12 Education and its Legitimation through Performativity. This chapter argues that knowledge no longer ends in the schoolyard or university campus. Does it? Do we stop learning anything new after coming out from a college or schoolyard? We must constantly learn and adapt if we plan on surviving in an industrialized world, commercialized world. So, knowledge is something which is a never ending thing. Till the last breath of your life, you will keep on getting some or the other new knowledge. Chapter 13, Postmodern Science as the Search for Instabilities. This chapter says that there is nothing stable about today's educational model. This we can say very much true about India. The education policies and the education trends and the curriculum keep on changing every now and then. So Lyotard continues his argument about adaptation. One needs to adapt to the changes that are coming in the society. One needs to try to know more and more. Chapter 14 is the last chapter. The postmodern condition ends with the chapter 14, legitimation by paralogy. Here he wonders if there has ever been such a thing as truly stable scientific model for knowledge transmission. Our understanding and our abilities shift all the time, and our potential for learning grows with every passing decade. I'll say every passing second our learning grows. Lyotard argues that this is a good thing. He is not criticizing it, this is a good thing. If we accept that nothing is permanent and then and that everything we think we know is subject to challenge, we will question what society and the government tell us. Then only, we will try to enhance our knowledge. If we consider that nothing is permanent, not even the knowledge, then only we will question whatever is being told to us by the government, by the society. Have you not thought about a small kid of 2 years, 3 years? That kid never stops after getting one answer and keeps on asking more and more why, what, why, where, when. That same should be the scenario with everyone. We should not be satisfied with the knowledge that is provided to us. Knowledge is always subject to challenge. In the postmodern condition, he introduced the idea of postmodernism as something that extended well beyond the arts into society, politics, sociology, and even the psychology of human condition. So he basically is talking about the knowledge. Knowledge about everything is increasing day by day, but we are not, getting that kind of grand narratives or meta narratives that we used to get earlier by discussions. Nowadays, knowledge is commercialized and packaged. I hope you liked the video. Please share and subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you get notification of updates. Thanks for watching. Best of luck for exams. You may join the channel to cover many important aspects of literature, and you may join our online live classes as well. The link for the query has been given in description. Once again, thanks for watching. Best of luck for exams.